There's a particular weight that settles in the bones of a child who was never truly allowed to be one. It lives in the space between what you were asked to carry and what your small hands could actually hold. You know this weight, don't you? That quiet heaviness of having been the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who learned far too young that childhood was a luxury you couldn't afford. Perhaps you were the one translating adult conversations at 7, managing household bills at 9, or soothing a parent's tears when you should have been playing in the yard. There was no single moment when you stopped being a child. It was more like a gradual fading, like colours washing out of a photograph, until one day you looked in the mirror and realised you'd been carrying eyes much older than your years. Now dim those lights, get cozy, settle deep into your pillow, and let yourself relax. Take a breath. Let your body begin to soften. Tonight, we're exploring something tender and true about what it means to have grown up too fast. Not to analyse it endlessly, but to see it clearly, to understand it gently, and then to let you rest with the knowing that you are not alone in this experience. You've carried enough for one lifetime. Tonight, you can simply be held by these words and let yourself drift toward the sleep you deserve. There's a threshold that some children cross without ceremony, without witnesses, without anyone marking the moment as significant. One day you're a child, and the next day, though nothing external has changed, you are carrying responsibilities that belong to someone much older. You become the translator of adult emotions, the keeper of family secrets, the one who notices when the bills aren't paid or when the fighting has gone on too long. This crossing happens quietly, almost invisibly, and yet it changes everything. Your psychology shifts to accommodate a reality that asks you to be more than your years allow. And here's what's important to understand right from the start. This wasn't your choice, and it wasn't your fault. This threshold exists in different forms for different children. For some, it's the moment a parent becomes ill, and suddenly a 10-year-old is managing medications, cooking meals, becoming a caregiver when they should still be learning to tie their shoes properly. For others, it's more emotional. The day you realize that your mother needs you to be happy so she can feel okay, or that your father's anger means you have to become small and careful and always watchful. Still others cross this threshold through economic necessity, poverty that demands a child work, contribute, sacrifice their afternoons of play for the survival of the family. What's fascinating from a psychological perspective is how adaptable the human child is. Your brain, still developing, still forming its understanding of how the world works, simply integrated this new reality. It didn't question whether this was normal or fair. It just adapted. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning and decision-making, accelerated its development out of necessity. You became capable of things that children your age typically couldn't manage. And everyone probably marvelled at how mature you were, how responsible, how you had such an old soul. But what they didn't see was the cost of that acceleration. What they didn't understand was that this wasn't growth. It was survival dressed up as precociousness. Take a moment now to notice your breathing. Just notice it, without trying to change anything. Feel the air moving in through your nose or mouth, filling your lungs and then releasing. Your breath has been with you since the moment you were born, and it's here with you now, steady and reliable. Let your attention rest there for just a moment, and as you do, see if you can soften your shoulders. They might be holding tension you don't even realize is there. Let them drop just a little. Let the weight of your arms pull them down gently. There's nothing you need to hold up right now. Nothing you need to carry in this moment. This early crossing of the threshold, this invisible initiation into a kind of premature adulthood, it makes complete sense when you understand how a child's mind works. Children are wired for attachment, for survival. Your young brain looked at the situation and calculated, quickly and unconsciously, what it needed to do to stay safe, to stay connected, to ensure that the fragile structure of your family didn't completely collapse. You weren't choosing to grow up too fast. You were responding to an environment that required it, and your nervous system, that ancient part of you that exists to keep you alive, simply did what it needed to do. There's something important to recognize here, something that might bring both sadness and relief. You were a child doing the very best you could with impossible circumstances. You weren't equipped with the emotional resources, the life experience, or the developmental capacity to carry what you carried, and yet you did it anyway. Not because you were special or chosen or uniquely capable, but because you had no other choice. The adults in your life, for whatever reason, couldn't provide what you needed, and so you learned to provide it yourself. This is both a testament to your resilience and a tragedy of what you lost in the process. You don't need to analyze this deeply tonight. You don't need to untangle every thread of how this happened or why. You can simply let yourself recognize that it was real, that it happened, that it shaped you, and you can let your body begin to soften with that recognition. Let your jaw unclench if it's tight. Let your tongue rest easy in your mouth. Feel the weight of your head against the pillow and let the pillow hold that weight. You've been holding yourself up for so long. Tonight, you can let something else do the holding. Let yourself sink just a little deeper into rest as we move forward together, gently exploring what this meant for the person you became. Psychologists have a term for what happened to you, though the word itself might feel too clinical for something so deeply felt. They call it parentification, when a child takes on the emotional or practical role of a parent. You might have been the one making dinner while your mother stayed in bed, or the one mediating arguments between adults who should have been mediating for you. Perhaps you learned to read the room before you learned to read books, scanning faces for signs of danger, monitoring moods like a weather forecast you had to predict to stay safe. This pattern creates a particular kind of psychology, one where vigilance becomes second nature and rest feels almost dangerous. The research on parentification reveals something striking. It shows up in two main forms, instrumental and emotional. Instrumental parentification is when a child takes on practical physical tasks, the cooking, the cleaning, the care of younger siblings, the management of household logistics. This is visible labor. People can see a child doing these things and might even comment on it. But emotional parentification is often invisible. It's when a child becomes the emotional support system for a parent, when you're the one your mother confides in about her marriage troubles, when you're the one monitoring your father's mood to keep him from exploding, when you're tasked with keeping everyone happy, keeping the peace, being the emotional thermostat of the household. Many children who grew up too fast experience both forms simultaneously. You might have been making dinner while also managing your mother's emotional state. You might have been getting your siblings ready for school while also serving as your father's confidant. This dual burden creates a particular kind of exhaustion that goes beyond the physical. It's an exhaustion of the self, of constantly existing in service to others, of having no space where you get to simply be a child with child-sized concerns and child-appropriate needs. What makes this especially complex psychologically is that it often happened with love involved. Your parents probably weren't monsters. They were likely struggling themselves, overwhelmed, doing the best they could with their own limitations and traumas. You might have even felt protective of them, might have taken on these roles willingly because you loved them and wanted to help. This makes it harder to name what happened as harmful because it didn't feel like abuse in the traditional sense. It felt like family, like loyalty, like love. And yet, the impact on your developing psychology was profound regardless of the intention behind it. Notice your hands now. Are they clenched? See if you can let your fingers unfurl, let your palms open. Your hands have held so much, carried so much weight. Right now, they don't need to grip anything. They can simply rest, open and soft, receiving the quiet of this moment. And as your hands soften, perhaps other parts of you can soften too. Your chest, rising and falling with each breath. Your belly, which might be holding tension you're not even aware of. Let it be soft. Let it expand with each inhale. Release with each exhale. The term parentification helps us understand that this wasn't normal, that it represented a reversal of the natural order where parents care for children, not the other way around. But understanding the term doesn't erase what you experienced. It doesn't make the weight you carried any lighter in retrospect. What it does do is help you see that your experience has a name, that others have lived it too, that psychologists have studied it and recognized it as a significant developmental disruption. You're not alone in this, even though you might have felt profoundly alone when you were living through it. This pattern of taking on parental responsibilities creates lasting changes in how you relate to yourself and others. It teaches you that your value lies in what you can do for others, in how useful you can be, in how much you can handle without complaint. It teaches you that your own needs are secondary, perhaps even shameful. It teaches you that rest is a luxury you can't afford, that vulnerability is dangerous, that asking for help is a sign of weakness. These lessons, learned so early, become the foundation of your psychology. They become the lens through which you see yourself and navigate the world. But here's what you can know tonight as you lie here in the darkness. Those lessons, while they made sense in the context of your childhood, they don't have to define you forever. The child who learned to be hypervigilant, hyper-responsible, hyper-capable, that child was doing what they needed to survive. But you're not in that situation anymore. You're here, now, safe in this moment. And while you can't undo what happened, you can begin to offer yourself something different. You can begin to practice not being the parent, not being the responsible one, not being the one who holds everything together. You don't need to figure out how to do that tonight. You don't need a plan or a strategy or a complete transformation. You can simply let yourself be here, breathing, resting, allowing these words to wash over you. Let your body become heavy. Let your thoughts begin to slow. There's nothing you need to solve in this moment. Nothing you need to manage or fix or hold together. You can simply drift, letting yourself move deeper into rest as we continue to explore this together, gently and without urgency, in the quiet space of the night. Something shifts in a child's mind when they realize that their own safety depends on their ability to manage the emotions and needs of the adults around them. You learned young that keeping the peace meant survival, that anticipating needs meant avoiding chaos, that your worth was measured by how much you could handle without complaint. This creates a kind of hypervigilance that lives in your nervous system long after childhood ends. Your body learned to stay alert, to scan for problems, to never fully relax because relaxation meant something might fall apart. And here, tonight, you might notice how that old pattern still hums quietly beneath your awareness, even now. When a child realizes that their safety is conditional, that it depends on their behavior, their ability to read moods, their capacity to keep others happy, something fundamental shifts in their neurobiology. The amygdala, your brain's alarm system, becomes oversensitized. It starts seeing threat where there might be none, scanning constantly for signs that things are about to go wrong. This is what we call hypervigilance, and it's not a choice. It's an automatic response that your nervous system developed to keep you safe in an unpredictable environment. Think about what this meant for you as a child. You couldn't relax into play because you needed to keep one ear tuned to the emotional temperature of the house. You couldn't fully immerse yourself in childhood joy because part of you was always monitoring, always checking, always ready to intervene if things started to go sideways. Maybe you learned to interpret the sound of a car door closing, knowing whether your father was in a good mood or a bad one. Maybe you could tell from your mother's footsteps whether it was going to be a good day or a day when you needed to make yourself small and invisible. This kind of vigilance requires an enormous amount of energy. Your nervous system was working overtime, constantly scanning for danger, constantly calculating risk, constantly preparing for a potential crisis. And the exhausting part is that even when nothing bad was happening, you couldn't rest. Because the threat wasn't just in the bad moments, it was in the unpredictability. You never knew when things might shift, when calm might turn to chaos, and so you could never truly let your guard down. Take a breath right now, a deep one if you can, and as you exhale, see if you can let go of just a tiny bit of that old vigilance. You don't have to release all of it, just a little, just enough to feel your body settling into the surface beneath you. Notice how your back makes contact with the bed or couch or wherever you're resting. Feel that support beneath you. Let it hold your weight. Let yourself be held, even if just for this moment, without needing to stay alert. Your shoulders might be tight. Can you let them soften just slightly? Can you let your neck release some of its tension? What's fascinating and also heartbreaking is that this hypervigilance often served you well as a child. It probably kept you safe, helped you navigate a tricky environment, allowed you to survive circumstances that would have been even harder without it. Your ability to read people, to anticipate needs, to sense shifts in emotional atmosphere before they fully materialized. These became almost like superpowers. You developed an emotional intelligence beyond your years, an attunement to others that was remarkable. But here's the cost that often goes unacknowledged. This constant state of alert meant your nervous system never got to rest. Rest for a child isn't just about sleep, though that's part of it. It's about the ability to play without worry, to be silly without consequence, to make mistakes without everything falling apart. It's about having a secure base, a sense that the adults are holding things together so you don't have to. When that security is absent, when your own behavior becomes the variable that determines whether you're safe or not, your nervous system stays locked in a state of mobilization. Fight or flight, except there's nothing to fight and nowhere to flee, so you just stay frozen in high alert. This state becomes your baseline. Your nervous system literally rewires itself around vigilance as the default mode. And this wiring doesn't just disappear when you leave childhood behind. It follows you into adulthood, showing up in ways you might not even connect back to those early years. The difficulty sleeping because your mind won't stop scanning for problems. The tension in your body that never quite releases. The sense that something bad is always about to happen, even when everything is objectively fine. The inability to fully enjoy good moments because you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Understanding this isn't about blame. Your parents were likely doing the best they could with their own wounds, their own limitations, their own struggles. But understanding does help you recognize that what you're experiencing now isn't a personality flaw or a random quirk. It's a deeply ingrained survival pattern that made sense once and now needs updating. Your nervous system is still running old programming, still protecting you from dangers that are no longer present. Tonight, you don't need to reprogram anything. You don't need to fix or change or solve. You can simply let yourself notice what's true. Notice if your body's holding tension right now. Notice if your mind is scanning for what might go wrong, and then, gently, without force, invite just a little softening. Let your jaw relax. Let your eyes close fully if they haven't already. Let your breathing slow naturally, without trying to control it. You're safe right now. Nothing is falling apart. You can let yourself drift a little deeper. Let the vigilance quiet just enough to allow rest in. There's more to understand, yes, but not tonight. Tonight is just for resting, for softening, for letting your tired nervous system finally exhale. There's a particular loneliness that comes with being the wise one in a room full of children. While other kids played games you couldn't quite lose yourself in, you stood slightly apart, already fluent in concerns that should have been years away. You knew about money problems, about relationship struggles, about the fragility of the adults who are supposed to be strong. This knowledge created a distance, didn't it? You couldn't quite connect with the innocence of your peers because you'd already lost your own. You became bilingual, speaking the language of childhood when necessary, but thinking in the vocabulary of survival, of responsibility, of making do. Developmental psychologists talk about something called cognitive dissonance, and it applies deeply to children who grow up too fast. There's a disconnect between your chronological age and your psychological age. Your body is 7 or 9 or 11, but your mind is carrying concerns that belong to someone decades older. You understood adult problems with a child's limited framework for processing them. You knew about mortgage payments before you understood fractions. You worried about your mother's depression before you'd learned the word depression. This creates a strange internal landscape where you exist simultaneously as a child and as something else, something older and more burdened. The loneliness of this can't be overstated. You couldn't talk to your peers about what you were dealing with because they wouldn't understand. Their biggest concerns were which game to play at recess, or whether they'd get picked for the team. Meanwhile, you were worrying about whether there would be enough money for groceries, whether your parents' marriage would survive another fight, whether you could keep your younger siblings safe from the chaos swirling around them. The gap between your reality and theirs felt unbridgeable. So you learned to code switch, to perform childhood while internally navigating an adult world. You learned to laugh at the right moments, to play when expected, while carrying a weight that no one around you could see or comprehend. This isolation often meant you turned inward. You became your own companion, your own counsel. You learned to solve problems alone because there was no one to turn to who could meet you where you actually were. This self-reliance, which might have looked like strength, was really a form of loneliness so profound it became your default way of being. You didn't choose to be alone with your struggles. You simply had no alternative. Let yourself feel the weight of your body now, how it presses into the surface beneath you. Feel how you're supported, how you don't have to hold yourself up right now. Your body knows how to rest even when your mind forgets. Let your breath move naturally in and out without any effort on your part. And as you breathe, notice if there's tightness in your chest, that place where lonely feelings often live. Can you breathe into that space? Can you let it expand just slightly with each inhale and release just slightly with each exhale? What made this loneliness even more complex was that you often felt responsible for hiding it. You couldn't burden your parents with your struggles because they were already overwhelmed. You couldn't confide in teachers because that might expose the dysfunction at home. You couldn't even fully acknowledge your isolation to yourself because to do so would have been unbearable. So you developed what psychologists call splitting, the ability to compartmentalize your experience, to section off the heavy parts so you could function in the world. You became skilled at showing people what they wanted to see. A child who was fine, who was coping, who didn't need special attention or concern. But that skill, that ability to hide your true self, also deepened your loneliness. Because even when you were with others, even when you were surrounded by family or peers, you were fundamentally alone. No one saw the real you, the struggling you, the scared you, the overwhelmed you. They saw only the performance, the mask, the version of yourself that you'd learned to present to keep everyone comfortable. There's a particular kind of grief in this realization, isn't there? The grief of not having been truly known when you needed it most. The grief of having had to carry burdens alone that should have been shared, or better yet, never placed on your small shoulders at all. This grief might be touching you right now as you lie here in the darkness. If it is, let it be there. You don't need to push it away or fix it or make it into something else. Grief, when allowed, often softens into something gentler, something that can rest alongside you without overwhelming you. The loneliness of growing up too fast also taught you to be vigilant about relationships. You learned that people are unpredictable, that even those who should protect you might fail to do so. That connection often comes with conditions and complications. This made it hard to trust, hard to be vulnerable, hard to believe that someone might actually be there for you without expecting something in return. And so, even as you longed for connection, you kept people at a distance, protecting yourself from the possibility of being disappointed or abandoned or misunderstood once again. Understanding this pattern doesn't erase the loneliness you felt or the distance you still might maintain, but it helps you see that your guardedness makes sense. It's not unfriendliness or antisocial behaviour. It's protection born from early experience, a reasonable response to having been alone when you needed not to be. And while that protection served you once, you get to decide now, as an adult, whether it still serves you or whether you're ready to risk connection in small, careful ways. But not tonight. Tonight isn't about changing anything or taking risks or working on your relational patterns. Tonight is simply about acknowledging what was and letting yourself rest in the acknowledgement. Let your eyes soften. Let your face relax. You don't need to perform anything right now. You don't need to be wise or capable or strong. You can just be tired. You can just be someone who carried too much for too long and is finally allowing themselves to set it down, even if only for these hours of sleep. Let yourself drift now. Let the loneliness fade into the background. Let the exhaustion of always being apart finally ease as you sink deeper and deeper into rest. People probably praised you for being mature, for being responsible, for being so good at handling things. They said, as if it were a compliment. And maybe part of you felt proud, felt needed, felt valuable in that role. But another part of you, the part that never got to speak, knew that this maturity wasn't a gift. It was a requirement. You didn't choose to grow up fast. You adapted to survive. The psychology of this is complex because the very trait that helped you cope also became the thing that trapped you. Being the capable one meant you could never stop being capable, never admit you were struggling, never ask for the help you so desperately needed. There's something particularly insidious about being praised for the very thing that's hurting you. Every time someone told you how mature you were, how responsible, how good at handling things, it reinforced the pattern. It told you that this was who you were supposed to be, that your value lay in your capability, that your worth was measured by how much you could manage without falling apart. The praise felt good in the moment. Of course it did. You were a child seeking approval, seeking validation, seeking some sign that you mattered. But the approval you received was for performing maturity, not for simply being yourself. This creates what psychologists call a false self. The false self is the version of you that meets the expectations and needs of others. It's the mask you wear to survive, to belong, to avoid rejection or punishment. In your case, the false self was the mature, responsible, capable child, the one who could handle anything, the one who never complained, the one who made everything easier for the struggling adults around you. And this false self became so practiced, so automatic, that you might have lost touch with your true self, the scared, overwhelmed young person underneath who desperately needed what you couldn't ask for. The trap of this pattern is that it's self-perpetuating. Once you become known as the responsible one, people rely on you to be that. They come to expect it. Your family structure reorganizes itself around your capability. And if you ever falter, if you ever admit you can't handle something, the entire system feels threatened. So you learn to never falter, to never admit limits, to keep carrying more and more because stopping feels like it would cause everything to collapse. You become the load-bearing wall of your family, and load-bearing walls can't just decide to rest. Notice your body right now. Can you feel how much tension it might be holding? Your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. These places often hold the weight of responsibility that lives in your mind. See if you can consciously release some of that tension. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your jaw hang loose. Let your tongue relax in your mouth. And as you do, notice what it feels like to not be holding something up, even if just for this moment. Your body remembers what it's like to rest, even if your mind has forgotten. The gift that wasn't a gift gave you certain strengths. There's no denying that. You learned to be self-reliant, to problem solve, to stay calm under pressure. You developed emotional intelligence, the ability to read people and situations, to anticipate needs before they're spoken. You learn to work hard, to persist, to push through difficulty. These are real skills, real capabilities that have likely helped you navigate your adult life in many ways. But they came at a cost. They came at the cost of your childhood, your innocence, your ability to trust that you could be cared for rather than always being the caretaker. What's particularly painful is recognizing that you didn't get to choose which parts of growing up too fast to keep and which to release. It all came as a package deal. The responsibility, the vigilance, the self-reliance, the inability to rest, the difficulty asking for help, the sense that your worth depends on your usefulness, all of it intertwined, impossible to separate. You can't keep just the strengths and discard the struggles. They're woven together in your psychology, in your nervous system, in the very fibre of who you've become. And yet, there's also possibility here. Because while you can't undo what happened, while you can't go back and have a different childhood, you can begin to untangle some of these patterns now. You can begin to question whether the beliefs you absorbed about your worth, about rest, about needing help, are actually true, or whether they're just old survival strategies that you've outgrown. You can begin to practice in small ways, being something other than the capable one. You can begin to experiment with vulnerability, with admitting you don't have all the answers, with letting others support you. But again, not tonight. Tonight is not about working on anything or trying to change or figuring out a new way forward. Tonight is about letting the weight of what you've been carrying finally be acknowledged. It's about recognizing that the praise you received masked a deeper wound, that the gift wasn't really a gift at all, and that you deserved better than to have your survival strategy mistaken for who you actually were. Let your breath slow now. Let it become soft and deep, filling your belly, releasing fully. And as you breathe, imagine that with each exhale, you're releasing just a little bit of the need to be capable, to be responsible, to be the one who holds it all together. You don't have to release it permanently. You don't have to become someone new. You're just practicing for these few hours of sleep, letting that burden rest outside of you. Letting someone or something else hold it, while you simply breathe and drift and soften into the darkness. There's so much more to explore in this journey, but right now all you need to do is rest. Let everything else fade away. Let the false self, the mature self, the capable self take a break. And let the tired, true self underneath finally have permission to stop trying, stop performing, stop carrying. Just for now, just for tonight, just rest. Your body holds the memory of those early years in ways your conscious mind might not even recognize. The tension in your shoulders that never quite releases, the difficulty falling asleep because rest means letting your guard down, the way your stomach tightens when someone raises their voice even slightly. These aren't random symptoms. They're the echoes of a nervous system that learned to stay on high alert. When you were young, your body absorbed the stress of being responsible for things far beyond your control. It learned that the world was unpredictable, that safety was conditional, that you had to stay vigilant to survive, and that learning lives in your tissues, in your breath patterns, in the way you hold yourself even now. There's a field of study called somatic psychology that helps us understand this phenomenon. The word somatic comes from the Greek word soma, meaning body. And what researchers in this field have discovered is that trauma, stress, and early life experiences don't just live in our memories or our thoughts. They live in our bodies. They shape our posture, our muscle tension, our breathing patterns, our digestive systems, our immune responses. Your body quite literally holds the story of your childhood, even when your conscious mind has moved on or tried to forget. Think about the child you were, carrying responsibilities that were too heavy, managing emotions that were too complex, navigating situations that were too unpredictable. Your nervous system was in a near constant state of activation. The sympathetic nervous system, which governs your fight or flight response, was engaged far more than it should have been for a developing child. And when a nervous system stays activated for prolonged periods, it begins to treat that activation as normal. It resets its baseline. What should be occasional stress becomes chronic stress. What should be temporary vigilance becomes permanent hypervigilance. This shows up in your body in countless ways. Maybe you have chronic tension headaches or migraines. Maybe your jaw is always tight from years of clenching. Maybe you have digestive issues that doctors can't quite explain. Maybe you struggle with insomnia, lying awake for hours even when you're exhausted. Maybe you startle easily at loud noises or sudden movements. These aren't separate, random problems. They're all connected. They're all expressions of a nervous system that learned long ago that the world wasn't safe and that rest was dangerous. Take a moment to scan your body right now. Start with your feet. Can you feel them? Notice if they're tense or relaxed. Move your attention up to your calves, your thighs. Are you holding tension there? Let it soften if you can. Move to your hips, your lower back. This is often a place where we store stress without realizing it. Breathe into your lower back. Imagine it expanding with each inhale, releasing with each exhale. Now notice your belly. Is it tight? See if you can let it be soft and round, rising and falling naturally with your breath. Your chest, your shoulders, your arms, let them all become heavy, supported by whatever surface you're resting on. What's important to understand is that your body wasn't wrong for responding this way. It was doing exactly what it was designed to do, adapting to keep you safe in an environment that required constant vigilance. Your body is not broken or defective. It learned what it needed to learn to survive your childhood. The challenge now is that your body may still be responding as if those old threats are present, even when they're not. It's still braced for impact, still prepared for chaos, still unable to fully trust that rest is safe. This isn't your fault, and it's not something you can simply think your way out of. You can't just tell your body to relax, to let go, to trust. Your body needs new experiences, gentle ones, repeated ones, that slowly teach it that safety is possible, that rest doesn't lead to disaster, that vulnerability doesn't equal danger. And sometimes that process begins with simple recognition, with noticing, without judgment, how your body holds the past, with acknowledging that the tension in your shoulders is not random, that the tightness in your chest is not meaningless, that the difficulty sleeping is not a personal failing. Your body has been working so hard for so long, trying to keep you safe, trying to protect you from threats it learned to anticipate. And maybe, just for tonight, you can thank your body for all it's done, for all the ways it adapted and compensated and held you together when everything felt like it was falling apart. And then, gently, you can invite it to rest. Not forever, not completely, but just for now. Just for these hours of sleep. Your body can let down its guard just slightly, can soften its vigilance just enough to allow restoration, repair, the kind of deep rest that happens when you finally feel safe enough to stop watching, stop bracing, stop preparing. Let your breathing deepen now. Let each exhale be a small release, a tiny letting go. You don't need to force anything or make anything happen. You can just lie here, feeling your body supported, feeling the weight of yourself sinking into rest, knowing that the tension you carry makes sense, and knowing that you're allowed, for these precious hours, to finally set it down. There's more to understand about how childhood shaped you, but your body has heard enough for now. It just wants to rest. Let it. Let yourself drift as we continue this journey together, moving deeper into the night, deeper into understanding, deeper into the peace you so deserve. Here's something that often surprises people who grew up too fast. The breakdown doesn't always happen during childhood. You might have been fine then, or at least functional, pushing through with a resilience that seemed almost superhuman. But later, sometimes decades later, something shifts. Maybe it's when you have your own children and suddenly feel the weight of what you carried at their age. Maybe it's when you finally reach a place of external safety and your nervous system, no longer needed for constant vigilance, finally allows itself to feel everything it suppressed. This delayed response isn't weakness, it's your psychology finally feeling safe enough to process what happened. The child you were is still inside you, waiting to be held. Psychologists call this delayed response post-traumatic growth, or, in some cases, delayed onset symptoms. What it means is that your psyche has an intelligence of its own. When you were a child navigating impossible circumstances, your mind prioritized survival over processing. It couldn't afford to feel the full weight of what was happening because feeling it would have been incapacitating, so it tucked those feelings away, compartmentalized them, built walls around them. You developed what we might call functional dissociation, the ability to split off from your emotional experience enough to keep going, to keep functioning, to keep being the capable one everyone needed you to be. This is actually a remarkable adaptive capacity. Your mind was protecting you, giving you what you needed to get through each day. But protection has a cost. What gets pushed down doesn't disappear, it waits. And often it waits until you're finally in a place of safety, a place where your survival is no longer in question, before it asks to be seen, to be felt, to be integrated. This is why some people who seemed fine for years suddenly find themselves struggling as adults. The functional coping mechanisms that served them as children begin to crack when they're no longer needed. And what's underneath finally has permission to surface. Maybe this has happened to you. Maybe you reached a certain age or a certain milestone, a new relationship, a stable job, the birth of a child, and suddenly you found yourself falling apart in ways you didn't understand. Crying without knowing why, feeling overwhelmed by everyday tasks, experiencing anxiety or depression that seemed to come from nowhere. This can be deeply confusing because from the outside everything looks better than it's ever been. You're safe now, you're stable now, you've built a life that is nothing like your childhood. So why now? Why, when things are finally okay, do you feel worse than you ever did before? The answer lies in the nervous system's need for safety before it can process trauma. When you're still in survival mode, your body and mind don't have the luxury of feeling deeply or processing completely. But when safety arrives, when the constant threat is removed, your nervous system finally has the bandwidth to address what it's been carrying. The child inside you, the one who never got to feel afraid or sad or angry or lost, finally has permission to have those feelings. And they emerge, sometimes all at once, sometimes in waves, asking to be acknowledged and held. Bring your attention to your breath again. Feel it moving in and out, steady and reliable. Your breath is always with you. Always there, a constant companion through every moment of your life. Let your breath be an anchor right now, something solid to return to. Notice the pause between your inhale and exhale, that small moment of stillness. Let yourself rest in that pause, that quiet space where nothing needs to happen. If you've experienced this kind of delayed response, if you found yourself struggling in ways that surprised you, know that this is not regression. This is not falling apart. This is actually a sign that your psyche feels safe enough to finally do the processing work it couldn't do before. It's a sign of healing beginning, not of things getting worse. The child you were has been waiting patiently for the right conditions to be seen. And now, in your safety, in your stability, that child is finally saying, quote, "One." This doesn't mean you have to stay in crisis. It doesn't mean the feelings will overwhelm you forever. But it does mean that healing often looks like falling apart before coming back together. It means that the strength you've relied on your whole life might need to soften, just temporarily, to allow the vulnerable parts of you to finally be held. It means that becoming whole sometimes requires revisiting the fractures, feeling what you couldn't feel, grieving what you lost, and acknowledging the tremendous weight that small child carried. The good news, if there is any in this complicated process, is that this delayed response is your psyche's way of trying to make you whole. It's not punishing you or breaking you down. It's inviting you to finally integrate the parts of yourself that got split off in service of survival. And while that integration can be painful, while it can feel like too much, it's also the pathway to real healing, to genuine rest, to a life where you're not constantly running from your own history. You don't need to solve any of this tonight. You don't need to figure out how to process or integrate or heal. You can simply know that if you've struggled in ways you didn't expect, at times when you thought you should be happy, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're finally safe enough to feel. And that feeling, as difficult as it is actually a gift. It's your younger self trusting you enough to finally show you what they carried. Let yourself sink deeper now. Let your body become heavy. So heavy that it feels like you're melting into the surface beneath you. There's nothing to hold on to anymore. Nothing to figure out or fix or understand completely. Just this moment, this breath, this gradual softening into sleep. The child within you can rest too. After all these years of waiting, they can finally rest, held by your awareness, your compassion, your willingness to see them. Let that be enough for tonight. Let everything else fade away as you drift, slowly and safely into deeper rest. You never received permission to be young, to make mistakes, to not know, to need help. Instead, you received the implicit message that you had to be strong, had to figure it out, had to keep everything together. This absence of permission shaped how you move through the world even now. You might struggle to ask for help, to show vulnerability, to admit when you're overwhelmed. Your psychology learned that needing others was dangerous, that dependence was weakness, that you were only valuable when you were giving, not receiving. And tonight, as you lie here, perhaps you can begin to give yourself the permission that no one else gave you, the permission to rest, to not have all the answers, to simply be. Permission is such a simple word, and yet its absence in childhood creates profound consequences. Children need permission for so many things. Permission to play without purpose, to make messes, to fail, to be silly, to cry when hurt, to be afraid, to need comfort, to not understand, to be imperfect. These permissions are how children learn that they're valuable not for what they do but for who they are, that their worth is inherent, not earned, that love is unconditional, not dependent on performance. But when you grew up too fast, those permissions were never granted. Or if they were granted in words, they were contradicted by circumstances. You were told you could be a child, but the reality was that someone needed to make dinner, needed to manage the household, needed to keep the peace. So you learned that the permission wasn't real, that childhood was a luxury your family couldn't afford, that your value lay in your ability to be more than your years, to carry more than your capacity, to cope when coping shouldn't have been necessary. This creates a particular psychological pattern that often persists into adulthood. You become someone who doesn't wait for permission, because you learned early that permission wouldn't come. You push yourself beyond your limits. You say yes when you want to say no. You take on responsibilities that aren't yours. You make yourself indispensable, because somewhere deep inside, you still believe that's where your worth lies, and you struggle, deeply struggle, with the simple act of asking for what you need, because asking feels like admitting weakness, and weakness feels dangerous. The absence of permission also means the absence of boundaries. If you were never allowed to say this is too much, or I can't do this, or I need help, then you never learned where you end and others' needs begin. You absorbed the idea that your limits don't matter, that your capacity is infinite, that taking care of yourself is selfish. And so you overextend, overgive, overfunction, burning through your reserves without recognizing when you've hit empty. Let yourself notice your neck right now, that place where your head connects to your spine. Is there tension there? So many people hold stress in their necks, that bridge between thinking and being, between mind and body. Let your neck soften. Let your head become heavy on the pillow. You don't need to hold it up right now. You don't need to stay alert or vigilant. Let the pillow support the full weight of your head, and as you do, imagine releasing some of the burden of always being strong, always being capable, always being the one who doesn't need permission, because you never learned how to ask for it. What you deserved as a child was simple and profound. You deserved to have your needs met without having to earn that care. You deserved to be protected, not to be the protector. You deserved to receive without having to give first. You deserved to be seen as valuable simply because you existed, not because of what you could offer. These aren't extraordinary needs. They're the basic requirements of childhood, and their absence wasn't your fault. You didn't fail to earn them. They should have been yours freely without condition. Giving yourself permission now doesn't erase what you didn't receive then. But it does create a different present and future. It means you can start practicing saying no when you're at capacity. You can experiment with asking for help, even when it feels uncomfortable. You can allow yourself to rest without productivity, to to exist without purpose, to simply be without justifying your existence through usefulness. These practices feel unnatural at first because they contradict everything you learned. But they're also how you begin to rewrite the story, how you begin to teach yourself what no one taught you then, that you matter regardless of what you can do for others. Tonight, the permission you can give yourself is simple. Permission to rest fully, to let go completely, to stop trying even in your sleep to be strong or capable altogether. You can be fragmented tonight, you can be tired, you can be a mess of feelings and needs and vulnerabilities. You don't have to perform anything, even in your dreams. You can just let yourself be held by the darkness, by the silence, by the gentle rhythm of your own breathing. Let your whole body soften now, every muscle, every cell, every fibre. Let yourself become formless, boundaryless, held by something larger than yourself. The permission you're giving yourself right now is the permission to finally, after all these years, be exactly as young as you feel, exactly as tired as you are, exactly as in need of rest as your body has been begging you to acknowledge. You don't have to be strong anymore tonight. You've been strong enough. Let yourself drift now. Let yourself float on this permission like a gentle current carrying you towards sleep. There's nothing to prove, nothing to earn, nothing to become. You can simply rest knowing that rest itself is enough and you are enough exactly as you are. Let your breath slow now, just a little, as we touch on something you know too well. The invisible labour you performed. The emotional caretaking, the worry, the mental load of tracking everyone else's needs while your own went unnoticed. This labour left no visible marks, produced no tangible evidence, and yet it exhausted you in ways that no one could see. You were tired at 8 years old, not from playing, but from holding space for everyone else's struggles. You don't need to analyse this further tonight. You can simply acknowledge that it was real, that it mattered, that it cost you something. And you can let your body soften now, knowing that tonight there's nothing you need to hold. The exhaustion of invisible labour runs deep because it's never acknowledged, never counted, never credited. If you had been physically carrying heavy boxes all day, people would have seen your work. They would have noticed when you grew tired. But emotional labour, mental load, the constant tracking and managing and anticipating, this work happens in the shadows. No one sees you lying awake at night worrying about things that aren't your responsibility. No one sees the mental calculations you're running, the emotional temperature you're constantly monitoring, the needs you're anticipating before they're spoken. You were so young, and yet you became fluent in this invisible work. You learned to sense your mother's mood before she walked through the door. You kept track of bills, appointments, needs. You worried about things children shouldn't know exist. You carried the emotional weight of your family's dysfunction, and no one thanked you for it, because no one fully saw it. And even when they did see glimpses of it, when they praised you for being so helpful, so mature, so good, they didn't understand the cost, the deep, bone-tired exhaustion that comes from never being allowed to stop holding space for everyone else. This kind of labour, it doesn't end when you grow up, does it? You carry it into your adult relationships, your work, your friendships. You're still the one tracking everyone's needs, still the one holding the emotional space, still the one doing the invisible work that makes everything run smoothly. And you're still exhausted, still rarely thanked, still quietly burning out while everyone else assumes you're fine because you always have been. Feel your hands right now, your palms, your fingers. Are they clenched? Let them open. Let them rest, soft and still. Your hands have held so much, carried so much, managed so much. Right now, they can be empty. There's nothing you need to grip, nothing you need to hold onto. Let your hands rest on your chest or by your sides, completely open, completely still. And as your hands soften, notice how your arms can soften too, heavy, sinking down. No effort, no tension, just resting. You don't need to track anything tonight. You don't need to monitor anyone's emotional state or anticipate anyone's needs. You don't need to hold space for anyone's struggles or solve anyone's problems. Tonight, you can let all of that invisible labor simply stop, just for these hours, just while you're sleeping. Everything you've been holding, all the worry, all the mental load, all the tracking and managing, it can rest outside of you tonight. It can wait, or it can disappear entirely. It doesn't matter, because right now, in this moment, you're not responsible for any of it. This is permission, real permission, to let the labor stop, to let yourself be unburdened, to let your mind go quiet and your body go heavy. You've been working since you were far too young, and you deserve this rest, this deep, complete, thorough rest where nothing is asked of you, where you have no role to play, where you can simply drift into darkness. Your breath is getting slower now, softer, easier. Each exhale is a release, a letting go, a small surrender to rest. You don't need to control your breath or think about it. It's breathing you. Your body knows how to rest, as even when your mind has forgotten. Trust your body now. Let it sink deeper and deeper into this soft, safe, quiet space where invisible labor doesn't exist, where you're simply here, breathing, resting, letting go. The work you did, all those years, it mattered. It was real. It cost you. And now, finally, you can set it down. Let it dissolve into the darkness around you. Let yourself become lighter, emptier, free of the burden you've carried for so long. There's nothing to hold anymore, nothing to manage, nothing to track, just this moment, this breath, this gentle, gradual, beautiful descent into sleep. Notice your shoulders for a moment. Are they holding tension? Can you let them drop just slightly? The independence you developed as a child was a survival strategy, a way of ensuring you'd never be let down by people who couldn't show up for you. But this same independence, which once protected you, also became a wall that keeps others out. You learn to need no one, to rely only on yourself, to be the strong one always. And while this trait has likely served you in many ways, it's also meant that true connection, true vulnerability, true rest has felt almost impossible. You don't have to solve this tonight. You can simply notice it, and let yourself sink a little deeper into the support beneath you, the independence you built. It was necessary once. It kept you safe when depending on others felt dangerous. When the adults around you were unreliable, when promises were broken, when needs went unmet, you learned that the only person you could truly count on was yourself, and so you became self-sufficient, hyper-independent, someone who doesn't ask for help because asking feels like setting yourself up for disappointment. This independence, it served you in so many ways. It's made you capable, resilient, strong, but it's also so lonely. Hyper-independence creates a kind of isolation that's hard to name. You're surrounded by people, maybe even in relationships, but there's always a wall, a part of you that stays separate, that doesn't fully let anyone in, that handles everything alone. And this wall, as much as it protects you from being disappointed, also protects you from being held, from being supported, from experiencing the relief that comes when you finally allow someone else to share the weight. Let your jaw relax, completely relax. Let your teeth separate. Let your tongue rest soft in your mouth. So much tension lives in the jaw, that place where we hold back words, where we clench against vulnerability, where we literally hold ourselves together. Let it all soften now. You don't need to be independent tonight. You don't need to handle anything, figure anything out. Stay strong. Maintain the wall. Tonight, you can practice, just for these hours, letting yourself be supported. The bed beneath you, the pillow under your head, the blanket over your body, let them hold you. Let yourself receive that support without having to give anything back, without having to earn it, without having to prove you deserve it. Just let yourself be held. And as you feel yourself supported, held, notice how your body can release just a little more. Your shoulders dropping, your back softening, your legs becoming heavy. This is what it feels like to not carry everything alone. This is what it means to receive without having to give first. And maybe, just maybe, you can remember this feeling, this sense of being held without having to be strong, and carry it with you, even into waking life. But not now. Now, you're just resting, breathing, sinking deeper into the softness, into the support, into the gentle darkness that asks nothing of you. Your independence, your strength, your capability, they can all rest too. They've worked so hard for you. They've kept you safe. And now, just for tonight, they can take a break. They can let you simply be here, held, supported, drifting, slowly, peacefully, into the deep, warm, gentle embrace of sleep. Sometimes, late at night, a different version of your childhood visits you in your imagination. In this version, you're playing without worry, laughing without scanning the room for tension, making messes without fear of adding to someone's burden. In this version, the adults are steady, the home is safe, and you get to be small. This fantasy isn't frivolous. It's your psyche showing you what it needed, what it needed, what it deserved. And while you can't go back and receive that childhood, you can acknowledge the grief of what was lost. Let that grief be here tonight, if it needs to be. Let it rest alongside you, not as something to fix, but as something to hold with tenderness. You're safe now. You can let the fantasy exist without pain. In this imagined childhood, there's a version of you who gets to be carefree, who runs without thinking about consequences, who cries when hurt and is immediately comforted, who makes mistakes and is gently corrected, not punished, who asks endless questions and receives patient answers, who gets to be messy, loud, silly, imperfect, and is loved through all of it. This version of you didn't have to earn love through usefulness, didn't have to stay quiet to keep the peace, didn't have to read the room constantly to stay safe. This child got to simply be. And when this fantasy visits you, it might bring sadness with it, because it highlights everything that wasn't there, everything you needed but didn't receive, the protection that should have been yours, the care that should have been freely given, the childhood that should have been your birthright. This grief is real, even though you're grieving something that never existed. You're mourning the absence, the void, the what should have been. Notice your feet now, how they rest against the bed or wherever you're lying. Feel the weight of them, heavy, relaxed. Move your attention slowly up your legs, your calves, your shins, your knees. Is there any holding there, any tension? Let it drain away, like water flowing downward, leaving your legs soft, heavy, completely at rest. Your thighs now, front and back. Let them sink into the surface beneath you. Feel how supported you are. Your hips, your pelvis, all the muscles there releasing, softening, letting go of any tightness they've been holding all day, all week, all these years. You deserved better than what you got. This is simply true. Not to make anyone wrong, not to assign blame, but just as a statement of fact. You deserve the kind of childhood where you got to be small, protected, cared for, and you didn't get it. This loss matters. It shaped you. It cost you something. And tonight, you can acknowledge that loss without trying to make it okay, without trying to move past it too quickly, without minimizing it. The grief can be here. It doesn't need to be fixed or resolved. It can simply exist alongside you as you rest. And here's what's also true, that fantasy childhood, the one that visits you sometimes, it shows you what your soul still longs for: safety, protection, permission to be imperfect, the ability to rest without earning it. These longings don't disappear just because you're an adult now. Part of you still wants what that child wanted. And maybe, in small ways, you can begin to give yourself those things. Not the actual childhood, that's gone, but the qualities of it, the gentleness, the permission, the sense that you're allowed to exist without constantly proving your worth. Let yourself drift now, just a little deeper into the darkness. The fantasy doesn't need to hurt anymore. You can let it be soft, distant, like a dream you once had that felt beautiful even though it wasn't real. And as you drift, you can know that the child you were and the child you wish you could have been, they can both rest now. They can both let go into this gentle, quiet, peaceful sleep. Nothing to chase, nothing to long for, just this moment, this breath, this softening into rest. Take a breath here and let it out slowly. The world sees you as capable, successful, together, and you are these things. But underneath the high-functioning exterior lives a tiredness that runs bone deep, doesn't it? You've become so skilled at performing competence that sometimes even you forget how heavy the performance is. This is the psychology of growing up too fast. You learn to show the world only your strength, never your need. But strength isn't the absence of struggle. It's the decision to keep going despite it. And tonight, you don't need to be strong. You don't need to perform anything. You can let the facade rest. Just for now. Just while you're here, breathing softly in the dark. You learned early that showing struggle meant burdening others, that asking for help meant being weak, that the only acceptable version of yourself was the version that had it all together. And so you built this facade, this carefully constructed presentation of competence. You show up on time, you meet your obligations, you exceed expectations. You make it look easy even when it's destroying you inside. This facade has served you in many ways. It's gotten you through difficult times, helped you succeed, earned you respect, but it's also so exhausting, because underneath the performance, you're human. You struggle, you hurt, you get overwhelmed, you have needs. But you've become so practiced at hiding all of this that sometimes even you lose touch with it. Sometimes you don't realize how tired you are until you're completely depleted. Sometimes you don't notice you're struggling until you're in crisis. The facade, it protects you from others seeing your vulnerability, but it also disconnects you from yourself. Notice your chest now, your ribcage, the space where your heart lives. Place your attention there, gently, without judgment. Your chest might feel tight, or it might feel open. Whatever it feels is okay. Breathe into that space. Imagine your breath filling your chest, expanding your ribs, creating space. And as you exhale, let your chest soften. Let it release any holding, any armor, any need to protect. Your heart has been working so hard, beating steadily, keeping you alive through all of it. Let it rest now. Let it beat softly, easily, in this safe, quiet darkness. Tonight, the facade can rest. No one is watching. No one needs you to be competent or together or strong. You can let yourself be exactly as tired as you feel, exactly as overwhelmed, exactly as messy and complicated and human as you actually are. You don't have to perform anything, not even for yourself. You can just be here, breathing, existing, without having to prove anything or maintain anything or live up to anything. The tiredness you carry, that bone-deep exhaustion, it's been waiting for permission to be acknowledged. And here's that permission right now. In this moment, you're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to be done. You're allowed to stop performing and just collapse into rest. Let your whole body go heavy with that permission. Let every muscle, every cell, every part of you that's been working so hard to hold it together, finally let go, and as you let go, as the facade drops away, notice what's underneath, not more performance, not another layer to analyze, just tiredness, just softness, just a human being who's been trying so hard for so long and is finally allowed to rest. You can drift now, deeper, away from the performance, away from the facade, into something real, something true, something that asks nothing of you except that you breathe and sleep and let yourself be held by the darkness, soft, safe, complete. Your breath is slowing naturally now, finding its own rhythm. One of the lasting impacts of growing up too fast is how strange it feels when someone tries to care for you. A friend offering help, a partner wanting to support you, even someone simply asking if you're okay, it can trigger discomfort, suspicion, or the immediate urge to deflect. Your psychology learned that accepting care meant being vulnerable, and vulnerability meant danger. So you learned to say, "I'm fine," to minimize your needs, to handle everything alone. You don't need to change this pattern tonight. You just need to know it makes sense. It protected you once. And here, in this moment, you can practice the smallest form of receiving rest, receiving these words, receiving permission to stop trying so hard. When someone offers to help, your first instinct might be to say no, to insist you're fine, to deflect or minimize. This response is automatic, almost reflexive. It's not that you don't want help. It's that accepting help feels dangerous on some deep level, because accepting help means admitting you need something, and needing something means being vulnerable, and vulnerability, that learned dangerous in childhood. So you learn to be self-sufficient, to handle everything yourself, to never let anyone see how much you're struggling. But this pattern, while it protected you once, also keeps you isolated. It keeps you from experiencing the relief of shared burdens. It keeps you from knowing what it's like to be truly supported, to let someone else carry part of the weight, to rest in the knowledge that you don't have to do it all alone. And maybe some part of you is tired of this pattern, tired of always being the strong one, tired of never letting anyone in, tired of carrying everything yourself. Feel your hands again, your wrists, your forearms. Let them be completely relaxed, no tension, no gripping. Your upper arms, your elbows, let them be heavy, sinking down. Your shoulders now, those places that carry so much, let them drop completely. Feel the weight of your arms pulling your shoulders down, away from your ears, creating space in your neck, space in your upper back. And as your shoulders release, notice how much tension you've been holding there, how much you've been carrying, and now, for just this moment, you can set it down. Tonight, you can practice receiving, not in any big dramatic way, just receiving rest, receiving the support of the surface beneath you, receiving these words as they wash over you, receiving permission to not be okay, to not be fine, to not have it all together. You don't have to act on this or change anything about how you live your life. You can just practice here in the safety of the darkness, what it might feel like to let yourself receive without having to give anything back. This is what care can feel like. Not demanding, not requiring anything from you. Just here, just offered, just available. You can take it or leave it. You can let it in or keep it at arm's length. Either way is okay. But maybe, just maybe, you can let yourself feel what it's like to receive care without suspicion, to be supported without having to earn it, to rest without having to prove you deserve it. Let yourself sink deeper now, into that receiving, into that softness. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to handle this alone. You can let yourself be held by this moment, by this darkness, by the simple rhythm of your breathing, in and out, receiving air, releasing air, the most basic form of receiving there is. Your body knows how to receive. It's been receiving breath since you were born. Let it receive rest now too. Deep, complete, unconditional rest. Nothing asked, nothing owed, just breathing, just resting, just letting yourself drift away into sleep. Let your jaw soften. Unclench it if you're holding tension there. The grief of a stolen childhood doesn't announce itself clearly. It's not like mourning a person who died or a relationship that ended. It's more diffuse, more complicated. It's the grief of what never was, of the play you never had, the carefree moments you couldn't access, the trust you couldn't build. Sometimes this grief shows up as anger, sometimes as numbness, sometimes as an ache you can't quite name. And all of these responses are valid. Your nervous system is trying to process a loss that was never acknowledged. Tonight, you don't need to make sense of it. You can just let it be there, formless and real, while you sink deeper into rest. Grief without a clear object is one of the hardest griefs to bear. There's no funeral, no memorial, no ritual to help you process it. There's just this ache, this sense of something missing, this hollow place inside that remembers what should have been but wasn't. You can't point to a specific moment and say, quote 6. It's more like grieving an entire landscape of experiences that never existed. The safety you never felt, the play you never enjoyed, the trust you never built, the lightness you never experienced, and this grief. It doesn't follow the neat stages people talk about. It comes and goes. Sometimes you feel it intensely. Sometimes it's just a quiet background hum. Sometimes it shows up as sadness, sometimes as rage, sometimes as a numbness that makes you feel disconnected from everything. There's no right way to grieve something that never was. There's just the ache and your body's attempt to process it however it can. Notice your belly now, that soft place below your ribs. Let it be completely relaxed, round, soft. You don't need to hold it in or tighten it. Let it expand with each breath, filling like a balloon and then releasing, emptying. Your belly holds so much emotions, tension, grief. Let it soften now. Let it release whatever it's been holding. Breathe into your belly, deep, slow, and let each exhale carry away just a little bit of what you've been carrying. Not all of it, just a little with each breath, a little more, releasing, letting go. The grief doesn't need to be resolved tonight. It doesn't need to be understood or processed or worked through. It can just be. It can exist alongside you as you rest, neither consuming you nor disappearing entirely. Just there. Just real. Just a part of your experience that deserves to be acknowledged. You lost something that matters, even if you never had it to begin with, and that loss is worthy of grief. Let the grief be soft tonight. Let it be gentle. You don't have to feel it intensely or dive into it deeply. You can just let it rest, the way you're resting. Let it be held by the darkness around you. Let it be cradled by your awareness. It's been with you for so long, carrying it, hiding it, pushing it down. Tonight, it can just be, and you can just breathe. And together, you and your grief can drift slowly, softly into the quiet, peaceful, deep embrace of sleep. Notice your breathing now, how it moves in and out without you needing to control it. People who grew up too fast often have complicated relationships with authority. You might struggle to respect people in power because you saw too early how flawed adults could be, how they failed at the very things they were supposed to provide. Or perhaps you became overly compliant, learning that challenging authority was dangerous. Either way, your psychology formed around the understanding that you couldn't fully trust the people who were supposed to guide you. This creates a particular kind of self-reliance, a determination to never need what you can't trust others to provide. Let that determination rest tonight. Here, in this moment, you don't need to be vigilant. You can simply be. When the adults who were supposed to protect you couldn't be trusted, it shaped how you see all authority forever after. You learned that people in power are fallible, that they make mistakes, that they sometimes fail catastrophically at the very things they're supposed to do. This knowledge, it made you skeptical, wary, unable to fully surrender to anyone's guidance or leadership. Or maybe it made you overly compliant, afraid to push back, afraid to question. Because questioning authority in your childhood meant consequences you couldn't afford. Either way, you developed this deep self-reliance. This sense that you can only truly count on yourself. That trusting others to guide you, help you, lead you, is dangerous. And while this self-reliance has helped you survive, has made you capable and strong, it's also meant you've carried everything yourself, never fully able to rest in the knowledge that someone else might have your back, never quite able to trust that authority figures have your best interest at heart. Feel your whole body now, from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes. Just feel it. Notice where it's touching the surface beneath you, your head, your shoulders, your back, your hips, your legs. Feel the support beneath you. You're not floating. You're not holding yourself up. You're being held. The surface beneath you is trustworthy. It will hold your weight all night long without wavering. You can trust it, even if you can't trust much else. Let yourself feel that support now. Really feel it, and let your body relax into it completely. Tonight you don't need to maintain your vigilance about authority or trust or reliability. You're not navigating any hierarchies or power structures right now. You're just here, lying down, breathing. There's no one to be wary of, no one to comply with or resist against, just you and the darkness and the quiet rhythm of your breath. You can let your determination, your self-reliance, your guardedness, all of it, rest for these hours. You can simply be. Your breath is so steady now, in and out, like waves on a shore, constant, reliable. Your breath has never let you down. It's been with you every moment of your life, breathing you even when you're not thinking about it. Trust your breath now. Let it carry you deeper into rest, into sleep. Let each exhale be a release, a surrender, a letting go of the need to be vigilant, the need to question, the need to never fully trust. Just for tonight, you can let all of that drift away. And as you drift, feel how your body knows how to rest, how it doesn't need permission or instruction. It just softens, releases, sinks deeper and deeper into sleep. You're safe here. You don't need to watch anyone. You don't need to protect yourself from authority that might fail you. You can just let go completely, trusting nothing but this moment, this breath, this gentle, inevitable, beautiful descent into deep, peaceful, restorative sleep. Your hands can be soft now. Let them unfold if they're clenched. When you grow up meeting everyone else's needs, you develop a pattern of overgiving that follows you into adulthood. You become the friend who always helps, the partner who always accommodates, the employee who always goes above and beyond. And while generosity is beautiful, your version often comes with an edge of exhaustion, a sense that you can't say no, that your worth depends on what you provide to others. This isn't generosity freely given. It's a survival pattern running on autopilot. You don't need to fix this tonight. You can simply notice it without judgment and let yourself receive instead of give, just for these quiet hours of rest. Overgiving becomes such an ingrained pattern that you barely notice it anymore. Someone needs help. You say yes before you even check if you have the capacity. Someone needs support. You drop everything to provide it. Someone needs you to accommodate, adjust, compromise. You do it automatically, without even considering whether it's what you want or need. This pattern feels like generosity, like kindness, like being a good person. And in some ways, it is. But underneath the generosity is often a fear that if you don't give, you won't be valued. That if you don't accommodate, you won't be loved. That your worth is conditional on your usefulness. This pattern exhausts you in ways that are hard to name. Because you're doing good things, helping people, being supportive, how can that be a problem? But the exhaustion is real. The depletion is real. The sense that you're always giving and rarely receiving, always accommodating and never being accommodated, always being the strong one while everyone else gets to be vulnerable. That's real too. And it costs you. It costs you rest, boundaries, the ability to know and honour your own needs, the experience of being cared for rather than always being the caretaker. Notice your hands right now, your fingers, your palms. Let them be completely open, soft, relaxed. Your hands have given so much, held so much, provided so much. Right now, they can be empty. They don't need to hold anything or offer anything. They can just rest. Let that openness spread up your arms, your wrists, your forearms, your elbows, your upper arms, all the way to your shoulders. Let your arms be heavy, completely relaxed, no effort, no tension, just resting. Feel how good it feels to not be holding anything, not be offering anything, not be giving anything, just receiving. The support beneath you, the softness of rest. You are valuable beyond what you can give. This is true even if it doesn't feel true. Even if every message you received growing up told you otherwise, your worth is inherent, not earned. You don't have to keep proving it through overgiving, through constant accommodation, through making yourself smaller so others can be more comfortable. You're allowed to have needs. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to receive without feeling guilty about it. But you don't need to work on any of this right now. You don't need to change your patterns or practice saying no or figure out how to set better boundaries. All of that can wait. Tonight, you're just noticing, just acknowledging that this pattern exists, and then letting yourself practice the opposite of overgiving, which is receiving rest, receiving support, receiving the quiet gift of this moment where nothing is asked of you. Let your breath slow even more now. So slow, so soft. Each exhale is a release, a letting go of the need to give, the need to accommodate, the need to be useful. You can just be. You can just rest. You don't need to be anything for anyone, not tonight. Tonight, you can let yourself drift deeper into receiving, into being held rather than holding, into being supported rather than supporting, into rest that asks nothing, expects nothing, needs nothing from you except that you let go and drift and sink deeper and deeper into the soft, warm, gentle embrace of sleep. Let yourself sink now, deeper into the surface beneath you, feeling the weight of your body fully supported. When childhood ends too soon, your body loses access to something essential, the ability to play, to be silly, to exist without purpose or productivity. Your movements became functional, efficient, goal-oriented. But play is how children process emotions, how they regulate their nervous systems, how they learn to exist in the world without fear. Without play, your body learned to be tense, purposeful, always in service of something. And even now, rest might feel wrong, might feel like wasted time. But tonight, let yourself remember that your body doesn't always need to be useful. It can simply be here, breathing, resting, dissolving into sleep. Play is pure existence without purpose. It's movement for the sake of movement, joy for the sake of joy, silliness without productivity. And when you lost access to play too early, your body learned that it only mattered when it was doing something useful. Your body became a tool, a means to an end, something that needed to be productive, functional, purposeful always, and that is exhausting. Your body never got to just be, never got to move without reason, never got to exist without justifying its existence through usefulness. Notice your whole body now, starting with your head. Feel the weight of your head sinking into the pillow, so heavy, your forehead, smooth and relaxed, your eyes closed, soft, your cheeks releasing any tension, your jaw hanging loose, no tension anywhere in your face, your neck now, that bridge between your head and your body, let it soften completely. Let your head be fully supported by the pillow, no holding, no tension, just resting. Your shoulders, let them drop even further. Let them melt into the surface beneath you. Your upper back, your middle back, your lower back, all sinking, all releasing, all softening into rest. Your chest, rising and falling with each breath, so gentle, so easy. Your belly, completely soft, rising with each inhale, falling with each exhale. No holding there, just softness. Your hips, heavy, your pelvis, sinking down, your thighs, so heavy now, like they're made of lead, sinking into the bed. Your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, all heavy, all relaxed, all at rest. Your body doesn't need to do anything right now. It doesn't need to be useful or productive or purposeful. It can just be. It can just exist. It can just rest without justifying that rest, without earning it, without making it productive in some way. This is what your body needed all along. Permission to exist without purpose, permission to be soft, permission to play in the most basic sense, which is to be without reason, to breathe without goal, to rest without justification. And as you feel your body so heavy, so relaxed, so completely at rest, you might notice how good this feels, how right, how your body was made for this, for rest, for softness, for existing without having to prove anything. This is what play teaches children, that they can exist without purpose, that they matter simply because they exist, not because of what they do. Let yourself drift now, deeper and deeper into this purposeless rest. You don't need to be useful. You don't need to be productive. You don't need to be anything at all. You can just sink deeper into softness, into darkness, into sleep. Let your body remember what it's like to simply be. No purpose, no function, no goal, just breathing, just resting, just dissolving completely into the warm, soft, peaceful sleep. Feel the softness of the pillow beneath your head and let your neck release just a little more. There's a part of you still waiting for someone to notice, to step in, to say, quote 7, quote. That inner child is still there, still hoping that someday the adults will become reliable, that someday you can stop being so responsible. This waiting creates a particular ache, doesn't it? It lives somewhere in your chest, a quiet longing for the rescue that never came. But here's what's true tonight. You can't go back and change what happened, but you can offer yourself the gentle care that younger version of you needed. You can let yourself rest now. Let yourself be held by this darkness, by this quiet, by this moment of perfect stillness. That inner child, the one who waited and waited, who kept hoping someone would finally see, who carried so much alone, that child is still inside you, still waiting, still hoping. And maybe, tonight, you can be the one who finally shows up for them. Not in any complicated way, just by resting, by letting go, by offering yourself the care, the gentleness, the permission that you needed then. Feel your breath now, moving in and out, so soft, so slow. In through your nose, filling your belly, and out through your mouth, releasing everything. Each breath is like a gentle wave, washing over you, soothing you, holding you. Your breath has been with you since the beginning. Since you were born, it's never left you. It's always here, breathing you, even when you forget to notice it. Let your breath hold you now. Let it rock you, gently, like a mother rocking a child, back and forth, into sleep. Your whole body is so heavy now, so relaxed. Your head sinking into the pillow, your shoulders melting down, your arms like they're made of water, flowing, spreading out, completely at rest. Your back pressed against the surface beneath you, every vertebra supported, every muscle released. Your legs so heavy they could sink right through the bed, down, into the earth itself. Your feet barely there, just resting, barely felt at all. You don't need to wait anymore. You don't need to hope that someone will come. You're here now. You've shown up for yourself. And that inner child, that part of you that's been waiting so long, can finally rest, can finally stop hoping, can finally let go of the waiting and sink into being held right now, in this moment. You're safe, you're held, you can let go completely now. Let the waiting dissolve, let it fade away, like morning mist disappearing in the warmth of the sun. There's nothing to wait for anymore. Everything you needed is here, in this moment. The care, the gentleness, the permission to rest, it's all here, and you can let yourself have it. Let yourself receive it. Let yourself sink into it completely, deeper now and deeper into rest. Let every thought, every worry, every old pattern drift away, like leaves floating down a stream, just drifting away. You're not holding onto anything anymore. You're just here, breathing, resting, being held by the darkness, by the silence, by the soft, gentle embrace of sleep. The inner child can rest now. You can rest now. Everything can finally rest. Your breath is so soft now, in and out, like waves on a distant shore. To be small means to be vulnerable, to need, to trust that others will catch you when you fall. But you never learned that it was safe to be small. You learned the opposite, that being small meant being in danger, that needs were burdens, that vulnerability was weakness. So you made yourself large, capable, invulnerable. And this served you. It truly did. But it also meant you never got to rest in someone else's care, never got to not know, never got to collapse. And that too is a loss worth acknowledging. Not tonight. Though tonight you don't need to think about any of this. You can just drift, knowing that here, in this moment, you are held. You learn to be big, to take up space, to be strong, to be capable, because being small felt dangerous. But tonight, you can be small, you can be tiny, you can be nothing at all, just a breath, just a heartbeat, just a quiet presence, resting in the darkness. Notice how your body feels now. So small, so light. Almost like you're floating. Your head barely touching the pillow. Your body barely pressing into the bed. You're becoming lighter, smaller, dissolving into the darkness around you. There's no boundary anymore between you and the night. You're just here, part of the darkness, part of the silence, part of the vast, soft, gentle nothing. Your breath, so soft now, in, barely there, out, barely felt, just the smallest whisper of breath, in and out. You don't need to be big anymore. You don't need to be strong. You don't need to be anything at all. You can just be this small, quiet, peaceful thing, barely existing, barely here, just breathing, just resting. Let yourself get smaller still. Let yourself dissolve. Let the edges of yourself just blur and soften and fade. You're not holding any shape anymore. You're not maintaining any form. You're just dissolving into the soft, warm, dark sea of sleep. You're safe here in this smallness. You're held, even though you can barely feel yourself anymore. You're supported, even as you disappear into rest. This is what it feels like to finally be small. To finally let go of being big and strong and capable, to just be barely here. Drift now, deeper and deeper. Let yourself go completely. There's nothing left to hold on to, no shape to maintain, no size to be, just this dissolving, this fading, this gentle, beautiful, complete surrender to sleep, smaller and smaller, lighter and lighter, until you're barely here at all and just a whisper of breath, just a heartbeat, just nothing and everything, all at once, dissolving completely into sleep. Notice how heavy your body feels now, sinking, settling. Your relationship with comfort is complicated. Comfort feels dangerous because it means letting your guard down, means trusting that you can relax without something falling apart. So you learned to exist in a state of constant low-level tension, always ready, always scanning, never fully settling. This has exhausted you, not in a dramatic way, but in a chronic, steady way that has worn you down year after year. And tonight, you can practice, just for these moments, letting comfort in, letting yourself soften completely, letting every muscle, every breath, every thought slow down and down and down into this deep, warm, gentle rest. Comfort is safe now. You can let it in. You can trust it. Nothing will fall apart. Nothing will go wrong. You can relax completely. You can let your guard down. You can trust that you're safe, that you're held, that everything is okay. Feel the surface beneath you, how soft it is, how supportive. It's holding you completely, every part of you, supported. Your head, your shoulders, your back, your hips, your legs, all held, all supported. You don't need to hold yourself up. You don't need to stay tense. You can let go completely. Notice your jaw. Let it drop. Let your mouth fall open slightly. Your tongue resting soft in your mouth. Your throat open, relaxed, your neck so soft now, your shoulders dropping, until they can't drop anymore. Your arms, heavy as stone, sinking down, your hands completely open, fingers spread, so relaxed, your chest, let it soften. Let your breath fill your chest, expand your ribs, and then let it all release. Your belly, soft, round, rising and falling, your lower back releasing into the bed, your hips so heavy, your thighs like lead, sinking, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, all so heavy, so relaxed, so comfortable. This is comfort. This is what it feels like to truly relax, to truly let go, to truly trust that you're safe enough to soften completely, and you can stay here in this comfort for hours, all night. You don't need to wake up. You don't need to check anything. You don't need to stay alert. You can just sink deeper and deeper into this comfort, this softness, this perfect, peaceful rest. Let yourself go now, completely. Let every last bit of tension drain away. Let every thought fade. Let every worry dissolve. There's nothing left but comfort. Nothing left but softness. Nothing left but sleep. You're drifting now, so deep, so far into sleep. Like you're floating in warm water, held, supported, perfectly comfortable. Everything is soft, everything is warm, everything is safe. You can let go completely now, deeper and deeper and deeper, sinking, settling, dissolving into the deepest, softest, most comfortable sleep. Nothing to do, nothing to be, nothing to think, just this perfect, complete, comfortable rest. Let yourself drift away now into the warm, dark, soft embrace of deep, deep, peaceful sleep. Just breathing, just resting, just sleeping completely. Now, so heavy now, your body so ready to let go. When you grew up too fast, you absorbed lessons that you might now be passing forward, either to your own children or to the younger people in your life. Part of you wants to protect them from what you experienced, wants to give them the childhood you didn't have. And yet, another part doesn't quite know how, because you never had the model, never saw what safe, attuned parenting looked like. This tension lives in you, this desire to break cycles, while not always knowing how. But tonight, you don't need to know. You don't need to fix anything. You can just breathe and trust that being aware is already enough for now. Just rest. The lessons you carry, they don't need to be examined tonight. They don't need to be understood or untangled or solved. They can just rest the way you're resting. Everything you learned, everything you absorbed, it can all fade into the background now, becoming soft, distant, barely there. Feel your breath now, so soft, barely moving. In, so gentle. Out, barely felt. Just the smallest whisper of breath. The rise of your chest, barely noticeable. The fall, barely there. Just breathing. So soft, so quiet, like you're barely breathing at all. Your body breathing itself, no effort, no thought, just the gentle, automatic rhythm of breath. Your face completely smooth now, every muscle released, your forehead soft, your eyes so heavy, barely there behind closed lids, your cheeks relaxed, your jaw hanging loose, completely open, your tongue resting, soft, your neck barely holding your head, the pillow doing all. The work, your shoulders, melted completely, disappeared into the bed, your arms, so heavy, like they're made of nothing at all, just weight, just heaviness, sinking down, your chest rising, falling, falling, in its own quiet rhythm. Your belly, soft as air, your back pressed into the surface, every part supported, every muscle released, your hips disappeared, your legs so heavy now, like stone, like earth, sinking down, through the bed, into the ground itself, your feet barely felt, your whole body dissolving into heaviness, into softness, into nothing. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to break cycles or protect anyone or figure anything out. You can just rest, just be, just sleep. Let yourself drift now, deeper than before, deeper, softer, quieter, into sleep. Let yourself sink like a stone through water, down and down and down into the soft, dark, quiet depths. So deep now, so far down, so far from the surface, so far from thought, so far from anything except this gentle sinking, this soft, dissolve in this quiet, peaceful sleep. You're safe, so safe. You can rest, you can let go completely. There's nothing to hold, nothing to carry on, nothing to protect, nothing to fix. Just this, just now, just breathing, just drifting deeper and deeper and deeper into sleep, like fog dissolving in morning sun, like mist fading into air, like smoke rising and disappearing. You're fading now, dissolving, barely here, just drifting, just sleeping, just gone into the soft, warm, dark peace. Let go, let go, let go, deeper, deeper, deeper into sleep. You're safe, you can rest, you're held, you can sleep. Let go completely, now, just breathing, just resting, just sleeping, deeper and deeper and deeper into the beautiful, necessary, perfect sleep. Everything is soft now, soft and far away, like sounds from another room, barely reaching you. Some people who grew up too fast eventually find their way back to softness. Not the softness of naivety, but the softness of someone who has carried too much and is finally ready to set it down. This softening doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't make it okay, but it allows you to exist without constant armor, to breathe without constant vigilance, to rest without constant fear. And perhaps that softening is happening now as you drift deeper and deeper into sleep, letting all of it, all the weight, all the responsibility, all the pain fade into the background while you simply rest. You're softening now. Can you feel it? The hardness, the edges, the armour, all of it, softening, melting away, like ice, melting in warm water, like snow, melting in spring sun, everything that was hard becoming soft, everything that was tense becoming loose, everything that was held being released. Notice your body, how soft it is now, your breath, soft as a whisper, in, barely there, out, barely felt, the air moving through you, gentle, quiet, barely, moving, your heartbeat, slow, soft, steady, barely noticed, just beating on its own, keeping you alive while you drift deeper, your head, so soft now, sinking into the pillow like it's melting, your face, smooth, peaceful, soft, your neck, like butter, like honey, just soft, your shoulders, completely melted, no shape, no form, just softness, your arms, soft as clouds, as mist, as air, your hands, barely there, just soft, open, released, your chest, soft, expanding, contracting, so gently, your belly, like water, moving with each breath, soft, flowing, your back, soft against the bed, every muscle, released, soft, your hips, your legs, your feet, all soft now, all melted, all dissolved into softness, everything soft, everything gentle, everything released. You can let go of the hardness now. You can let go of the armour. You can let go of the tension, the vigilance, the holding. It's all softening, fading, dissolving into sleep. You're safe, you're held, you can rest, you can soften, you can let go. Deeper now, softer, quieter, into sleep. Let yourself then drift away like a feather floating on gentle wind, so light now, so soft, so barely there, like waves on a shore, soft, gentle, barely heard, like wind through leaves, soft, distant, fading, like rain on quiet ground, soft, steady, lulling you deeper and deeper into sleep. You're softening, melting, dissolving into the darkness, into the quiet, into the peace. Let yourself go completely. Let yourself become nothing but softness, nothing but breath, nothing but as sleep. Deeper, softer, quieter, gone, just drifting, just sleeping, just peace. Let go, let go, let go into the soft, warm, gentle, deep, beautiful sleep. You're safe, you can rest, you're held, you can sleep, you're soft, you can dissolve completely as now into sleep. So quiet now, everything so quiet. You've been carrying and carrying and carrying for years, for decades perhaps, and no one ever told you that you could stop. No one ever gave you permission to not be the strong one, to not have all the answers, to not keep everyone afloat. But tonight, in this darkness, in this stillness, you can hear it, that permission, whispered soft. You can stop now. You can rest now. Everything you're carrying can wait until morning or forever. It doesn't matter, because right now, you're just breathing, just being, just drifting away into the deep, peaceful darkness of sleep. You can stop now. You can stop carrying. You can stop trying. You can stop being strong. You can just stop. Everything can stop. The carrying stops. The trying stops. The holding together stops. Everything stops, now, your breath, barely. Moving now, so quiet, so still, in almost nothing, out, barely there, just the smallest whisper of breath, barely breathing, almost stopped, just resting, just still, your body, so still now, your head, perfectly still, sinking, heavy, your face, still, no movement, no tension, just stillness, your shoulders, still, your arms, still, your hands, still, everything, still, your chest, barely moving, just the smallest rise and fall, barely noticed, almost stopped, just breathing, just still, your belly, still, your back, still, your hips, your legs, your feet, everything, so still now, like you're made of stone, like you're part of the bed, like you're not separate from anything, just part of the darkness, part of the stillness, part of the quiet, just here, just still, just stopped. You can stop now. You have permission. Everything you've been carrying, you can set it down. Everything you've been holding, yet you can release it. Everything you've been trying to fix, you can let it be. Just stop. Just rest. Just be still. Let yourself stop trying now. Stop thinking. Stop worrying. Stop holding. Stop carrying. Just stop. Everything stops. And in that stopping, there's peace, there's rest, there's sleep. You're drifting, so far away now, so far from everything, so far from all the carrying, so far from all the trying, just drifting into the quiet, into the stillness, into the stopped, peaceful, dark, like everything has finally come to rest, like a spinning wheel, slowing, stopping, like a river, reaching the sea, spreading out, becoming still, like wind, dying down, fading, stopping, everything stops, everything rests, everything sleeps. You can stop now, you have permission. Stop, stop, stop and rest, stop and sleep, stop and drift away into the deep, still, quiet, peace. Nothing moving, nothing trying, nothing carrying, just stillness, just rest, just sleep. Let go of everything. Let it all stop. Let yourself stop. And in that stopping, in that stillness, in that perfect, complete quiet, let yourself drift into the deepest, most peaceful, most still sleep you can. Stop now. You can rest now. You can sleep completely, deeply, peacefully, now. Barely awake now. Barely here, floating somewhere, between waking and dreaming. Your body knows how to heal, even when your mind is busy, even when you're not consciously working on anything. Your nervous system is recalibrating, processing, releasing what it no longer needs to hold. And in sleep, especially in deep, restful sleep, healing happens, not the kind you can force or plan, but the kind that unfolds naturally when you finally let go. So let go now. Let everything drift away. Let yourself sink completely into the warm, dark, gentle embrace of sleep, knowing you are safe, you are held, you are enough, exactly as you are. Your body is healing now as you sleep. Your nervous system releasing, recalibrating, letting go, all the tension draining away, all the stress dissolving, all the old patterns softening, your body knows what to do. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to try. You just rest, and your body heals. Feel your breath, so gentle now, barely there. Each breath healing you. Each exhale, releasing what you don't need. Each inhale, bringing peace, just breathing and healing. Your breath doing all the work. You just rest. Your body so relaxed now. Every muscle released. Every cell at rest. Your face peaceful. Your jaw loose. Your neck soft. Your shoulders heavy, melted. Your arms like water flowing. Your hands open, released. Your chest rising, falling, healing with each breath. Your belly soft, at peace. Your back supported, held. Your legs so heavy, so relaxed. Your feet released. Your whole body resting, healing, being restored. You're safe. You're held. You're enough, just as you are, right now, in this moment. You don't need to be anything else. You don't need to do anything else. You just are, and that is enough. Let yourself sink deeper now, into the healing, into the rest, into the sleep. Your body knows what it needs. Your nervous system is taking care of you. You can let go completely. You can trust that healing is happening. You can rest deeply, peacefully, like water, flowing over stones, smoothing them, like time, healing old wounds, like sleep, restoring everything. You're being healed now. You're being restored. You're being held and mended and made whole as you sleep. Deeper and deeper into healing, into rest, into peace. Let yourself drift completely away now into the warm, dark, gentle embrace of sleep. Let yourself be healed. Let yourself be held. Let yourself be at peace. You're safe. You're held. You're healing. You're resting. Everything is okay. Everything is being taken care of. You can let go completely now. Just breathing. Just healing. Just sleeping deeply, peacefully, completely. Let the healing happen. Let the rest deepen. Let yourself drift away into the deepest, most restorative, most healing sleep. You're safe. You're held. You're enough. You're healing. You're resting. You're sleeping deeply now. Sleep now. Just sleep. There will be a morning. There will be light again. But that's not now. Now is only this darkness, this quiet, this rest. The child who grew up too fast is finally allowed to stop, to be still, to dream without responsibility, without fear, without having to be anything at all. Just breathing, just sleeping, just peace. Let yourself go completely now into the deep, beautiful, necessary sleep. You've earned this rest. You deserve this peace. And tomorrow, when you wake, you'll still be you, but perhaps just a little lighter, having finally let yourself rest. Sleep now, just sleep. Nothing else matters, just sleep. The morning can wait, the light can wait, everything can wait. Right now is only this darkness, this quiet, this peace, this sleep. Your breath, barely there now, almost gone, just the softest whisper. In, barely, out, barely, almost not breathing at all. Just sleeping, just resting, just here in the darkness. Your body, completely released now. No tension anywhere. No holding. No trying. Just resting. Your head, heavy on the pillow. Your face, smooth. Your shoulders, melted away. Your arms, disappeared. Your chest, barely moving. Your whole body, dissolved into the darkness, into the bed, into nothing. Just sleeping. The child you were can rest now, can dream now, can finally be free. Free from responsibility, free from fear, free from having to be anything, just free, just dreaming, just sleeping in peace. You've earned this. You deserve this rest, this peace, this sleep. You've carried enough. You've tried enough. You've been strong enough. Now you can just rest, just sleep, just be at peace. Tomorrow will come, the light will return, but that's not now. Now is only this beautiful, necessary, perfect sleep. This rest you've needed, this peace you deserve, this sleep. Let yourself go now, completely. Let yourself drift away into the deepest, darkest, quietest sleep. Let yourself become nothing. Nothing but breath. Nothing but rest. Nothing but peace. You're sleeping now, deeply, completely, peacefully. The child who grew up too fast and is finally resting, finally sleeping, finally free, just breathing, just dreaming, just peace. Drift away now, into the deep, into the dark, into the quiet, into the beautiful, perfect, necessary sleep. You're safe, you're held, you're at rest, you're sleeping. Tomorrow, you'll wake a little lighter, a little more rested, a little more whole. But that's tomorrow. Now is only this sleep, this peace, this rest. Sleep, 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 deeply, peacefully, completely. You've earned it. You deserve it. You're safe. You're held. You're sleeping. Now. Just sleeping. Just peace. Just rest. Forever. Or until morning. It doesn't matter. Just sleep. Now. Sleep. And so, you've travelled through this landscape tonight, through the quiet territory of what it meant to grow up too fast, to carry what you carried, to be who you had to be. You've looked at the patterns, the weight, the complexity of it all, and perhaps what you've come to see is that you were never broken. You were never too much or not enough. You were simply a child, doing what children do when the world asks too much of them. You adapted, you survived, you became. You don't have to figure anything out before you sleep. You don't have to resolve anything, understand anything, fix anything. You can let yourself be uncertain, be in process, be exactly where you are. The child you were, the adult you've become, all the versions of yourself that exist between those two, they can all rest now. They can all be held by this darkness, by this quiet, by this moment of perfect acceptance. Let your face soften completely now. Let your jaw release. Let your shoulders drop one last time. Let your whole body settle, sink, dissolve into rest. You're worthy of rest. You're deserving of peace. You're allowed to let go, to stop thinking and simply drift. Drift away now into sleep. You're safe here. You're held here. You can rest completely. The child who grew up too fast can finally sleep, can finally dream, can finally rest without carrying anything, without being anything, just sleeping, just breathing, just at peace. Let yourself go now. Let yourself drift deeper, softer, quieter into the beautiful, necessary by perfect sleep. You've done enough. You've been enough. You are enough. Just breathing, just resting, just sleeping deeply, peacefully, completely. Now, sleep, just sleep, and know that you are held, you are safe, you are finally at rest.